Welcome to the third episode of Druid City Tonight, and we're talking about everything that happened in West Alabama this March. We're actually going to begin this episode with something important which happened in March that just cannot be joked about. A federal judge sentenced 2 people to life in prison for the kidnapping and murder of 3-year-old Camille Cupcake McKinney back in 2019. Patrick Stallworth and Derek Erisha Brown are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. McKinney's mother, April Thomas, wrote a statement which read, "How could you look at someone so precious and take her away from love and life and do something so brutal? Life without parole and death will never be enough for what you did." Stallworth and Brown will now be tried on state capital murder counts. The state is seeking the death penalty. A local golf cart taxi service might soon be losing its business license. The Tuscaloosa City Council is giving Bama Ride 6 months to improve. The Tuscaloosa Police Department said the service is a public nuisance, dangerous to the public's safety, health, and welfare. Oh, so tractors are allowed to drive 5 miles per hour on the road without being a public nuisance, but golf carts are where we draw the line? TPD found at least 2 Bama Ride drivers without chauffeur's licenses, which are required for ride-share drivers. Also required are a black suit with a bow tie and a monocle. President Joe Biden visited Selma, Alabama to commemorate the 58th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. On March 7, 1965, protesters began a march along a 54-mile-long highway from Selma to Montgomery. They began at Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma to protest the lack of voting rights for African Americans. Each year, people return to the Edmund Pettus Bridge to remember the march. This was Biden's 3rd time crossing the bridge, though he only remembers 2 of those times. In Biden's speech, he spoke about the importance of Bloody Sunday as well as the FEMA assistance sent to Selma after the January 12th tornado. Because that's what's important when talking about civil rights, boasting about stuff that has nothing to do with it.
We should learn everything, the good, the bad, the truth of who we are as a nation. And everyone should know the truth of Selma.
It's been 58 years, Joe. You were 23 when the first march happened. I think we all know the truth of Selma by now. That's like he's saying, everyone should know the truth about the moon landing. We already know the truth about that. Or do we? In February, I told you about 12 missing chickens from Bear Creek Academy. Well, earlier this month, the chickens were returned. The Bear Creek Academy Facebook page posted, "Praise Jesus, we got our last 2 chickens back. Now all 12 of our babies are home. We could not be happier or more blessed." Although for all of you observing Lent out there, I think it might be more prudent to say praise St. Anthony. Former Vice President Mike Pence is coming to speak at the University of Alabama in April. He was invited by the campus group Young Americans for Freedom. Although, if they're really concerned about freedom, I think maybe they should help out Pence first. He's never been free. The Tuscaloosa County school system blocked Facebook from all school-issued devices. Administrators said the website is a distraction. I'm sure the memes from 2013 are really rotting kids' minds. Governor Kay Ivey announced the state is giving tens of millions of dollars to help Nick and Terry Sabin create a STEM hub inside the Sabin Center. Tuscaloosa Mayor Walt Maddox said the Tuscaloosa City Council is also putting $55 million into the Sabin Center. Overall, the project is going to exceed $100 million. But the Tuscaloosa County school system has to try to increase property taxes to get any extra money? Got it. Tuscaloosa is currently the home to the largest southern magnolia tree. A state crew from the Alabama Forestry Commission declared a tree located at Bryce Reserve on the UA campus is the largest. The Forestry Commission group travels around the state to preserve the largest trees of each species in the state. Now, if I were my dad, I'd be asking if my tax dollars were paying for this commission's work. But I'm not my dad, so I'll say it a little differently. I sure hope my tax dollars aren't paying to find the biggest trees. There are plenty of great average-sized trees that are doing wonderfully in making oxygen for me. Another update to the Darius Miles case. Former UA basketball player Darius Miles and his friend Michael Davis have been indicted by a grand jury on capital murder charges for the January shooting death of 23-year-old Jamia Harris. Of course, in its article about Miles' indictment, WVUA 23 News mentioned Miles was a reserve on the basketball team. It also mentioned Brandon Miller continued to play for the team in the Southeastern Conference tournament. You think Brandon Miller's pat-down ritual was insensitive? How about mentioning UA basketball not once, but twice in an article about capital murder? Later in the month, a new video in the case showed Jamia Harris's boyfriend Cedric Johnson circling the area in his Jeep before he arrived and the shooting began. According to local criminal defense attorney Joel Sogel, this might mean Miles and Davis were acting in self-defense because it seems like the Jeep was intimidating them. Sogel also said the video shows the first muzzle flashes might have come from the Jeep, so he doubts if Miles is really at fault. It's the classic did Han Solo shoot first argument, only in this case Greedo's girlfriend dies and Han Solo can no longer compete in the Kessel Run. You've heard of the prison pocket. Introducing the prison purse. After being arrested for drug paraphernalia, a Tuscaloosa man was found to be hiding drugs and cash between the rolls of his stomach. 47-year-old Rodney Bernard Hinton had 90 grams of cocaine, 28 grams of marijuana, and over $6,000 in his stomach rolls. University of Alabama defensive back Tony Mitchell and his passenger Christopher Lewis were arrested in Florida following a traffic stop. According to the Holmes County Sheriff's Office Facebook page, deputies detected an odor of burnt marijuana coming from the vehicle. Ah yes, the odor of burnt marijuana. This isn't a cooking show, just say the car stank. Mitchell showed the deputies a baggie of marijuana which had been on the floor near the passenger seat. He and Lewis were then taken into custody. Later, officers found marijuana, a set of scales, a loaded handgun, and cash inside the car. All the tools necessary to burn your football career to the ground. Northport's bond rating was upgraded to AA+ by Fitch Ratings. A bond rating is just like our credit scores. It means the city is more likely to be able to take out a loan. Right now, the city is looking for more than $45 million. The money is going toward the Northport Water Park, an adventure sport park, and upgrades to Kentuck Park. You know what they say. When residents ask you to fix potholes, you finance a water park. The Alabama Department of Transportation began a resurfacing project on McFarland Boulevard. The project is from Julia Tutwiler Drive to Hargrove Road and from Skyland Boulevard to 12th Avenue East. AlDOT official John McWilliams said the project will be completed during the night, so daytime travel won't be affected. But to all of you people who work third shift at Whataburger, McWilliams said, and I quote, "Kick rocks." The Tuscaloosa Police Department hosted a career fair to show new candidates what the job entails. Tuscaloosa Police Chief Brent Blankley said protecting the public is TPD's #1 responsibility, and they were looking for qualified candidates who put their neighbors first. Right, because I really feel like I'm being protected when my police officers are random people recruited via job fair. DCH employees are getting raises starting in April. These raises will be whichever is more, a 5% cost of living adjustment or market adjustment. This comes just after hospitals had the worst financial year since the beginning of the pandemic and had to ask for help from the state last month. So where might DCH be getting all that money from? My guess is some sort of bingo hall. Also, DCH is adding a new parking deck because we really need that, right as COVID cases are basically gone. The City of Northport held its third monthly 20-year plan for growth and development meeting. The meeting focused on utilities, transportation, zoning, and annexations. I'm sure Northport won't run into any problems with this plan. After not being able to even appoint a District 3 councilman in 2 months, I really trust them to complete a 20-year plan on time. Well, that's all the news that's fit to joke about. Thanks for watching Druid City Tonight.